Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by my guy on the East Coast, Nate Weitzer. We are looking at Game 5, Nate, Suns and Clips. Really weird 90s style battle there in Game 4. Came down to the wire once again. Suns pulled it out by 4, as we saw. Some poor shooting on both sides, or some good defense, or some both, whatever you think. But we'll go ahead and look at Game 5 here in just a sec, as the Suns are up 3-1 now. As always, if you still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Find all of those listings and playoff promo specials in your area. And make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Jump in the comments. Let us know if you guys think this one is over in 5 games or if we're going to see a 6th game in this series. Nate, let's go ahead and jump into a few of the series odds, some futures, and then the lines there for Game 5.
Yeah, I mean, Game 4 was an absolute rock fight, and it's interesting to see the Suns be 5.5-point favorites after that. I mean, that game could have clearly gone either way. All 3 games in the series could have gone either way. So that jumps out at me. But you're telling me the total has seen more movement, right? Down from 218 to 214.5 after the lowest scoring game of the regular season or postseason this year. So obviously there's a good reason for that seeing action. But the Suns line hasn't really moved, Josh.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it's at about 5.5 now, and that's what it opened at. So that's what you'll find.
So I would jump on Clippers at plus 5.5. I don't think that they're going down in a blowout fashion. Honestly, I think that they just have too much fight in them at this point, and they're used to being in this role with their backs against the wall, and had a good chance to win either of the last 2 games. But once again, what we are targeting is DeAndre Ayton's production. The man who just said the other day, Chris Paul is the best thing to happen to my career, and there's no way to argue with that. He is putting up huge numbers right now in a conference final, and it continues to get disrespected in some way by odds makers that you can get 29.5 points, rebounds, assists for Ayton at minus 110 odds. So that's where I'd be laying my money, first of all.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I actually like him to go for 20 in this game as well, potentially. Specifically, if you want a player performance double with him to score 20 plus and a Suns win, you get about plus 260 on your money. So yeah, I think if you think he's going to get close to 20 points, 29.5 in he'll get that in rebounds, because another pretty easy prop in my opinion. Once again, if you think the Suns will pull this out, another player performance for DeAndre it's only plus 114, but you get the Suns win and DeAndre to get a double. Just 10 boards. I think you can also feel good about that. So, looking at that, the spread there specifically, like you said, 5.5 feels like a lot because of considering that this series could be 2-2. It could be 3-1 the other way if a few things change at the end. I know we were speaking a little bit about how potentially the Clippers come out and they really blow their load a little bit early, go really fast, and then they don't have anything left in the fourth. I would say that's also due to the fact that, one, they're playing against the best closer in Chris Paul in the league. Devin Booker's no slouch either when it comes to crunch time minutes. But then also, you've got the fact that they don't have a third scorer outside of Paul George and Reggie Jackson. And no one in this series right now is shooting well, as I said off the top, specifically, in Game 3 or Game 4, rather. We thought we might see a little bit of a turnaround from Paul and Booker, but they combined for 14 of 44 from the field, 0 of 8 from 3. And look, the Clips stepped up their D a ton. Since Game 1 when Book really went off, as we saw. So kudos to Pat Bev, and look, Zubac is going to be on the court, as we've seen. He played 35 and 38 minutes the last couple games respectively. So he's going to be on there even when it comes to the end, because Ayton's not coming off the floor, and if Zubac isn't on there, there's nobody to even bother him down low at this point. So I think look, shooting aside, I think you can expect that you will get points from the top 2 scorers on the Clippers in Reggie Jackson and Paul George. So I like Reggie Jackson's point prop there as well. It's at 19.5. He scored 19 one game and at least 20 in all up. We've known that for his whole career. And that's actually something that is going to be needed for the Clippers offense this game as well.
And I think to some degree, we're just dancing around the most obvious answer, which is why the line has moved 4 points, right? Just the under. We talked about it since Game 2 with this series. The Clippers know that they have to muck things up, and they have Mr. Muck It Up, Patrick Beverley, doing exactly that, literally breaking people's noses and trying to get them off their game. Respect to Devin Booker for keeping a cool head the way this guy has been antagonizing him. Did foul out, though, sort of as a result from that. It was just such a rock fight. Again, using that term, it just was 90s playoff basketball, right, in game 3. So, yes, we should see some positive regression. Chris Paul had a ton of shots rim out, makeable shots. Booker will continue to find his rhythm. We'll figure out Pat Bev's, but I don't know if we're going to get enough point production to get over 214 from these teams. So I think that and the Ayton props and the other props you touched on are even more confident than just the Clippers keeping it close.
For sure, yeah, and even if you do think that the shooting numbers will and they have to almost improve, specifically for the Clips, they shot 16% as a team from three, only 32% from the field. And look, the Suns were almost as bad in game 4 as well, but it wasn't as bad as the Clips. So I do think you will see that increase, but at the end of the day, you have to feel good about that under, not just because of what we've seen and because it's the playoffs where the unders are just slapping every game. It's also because of the pace that specifically the Chris Paul Suns play at. 92.5 was the pace of game 4 there, and so if you're going to combine that 92 possessions a game like that with combine that with just awful shooting from all over the floor, outside of DeAndre Ayton, really, who's shooting 70% in the series, then you've got to consider that even 210 doesn't seem super reachable for either of these teams. So needless to say, and harping on it lastly, we love the under here. We'll continue to take it as long as this series will go. If it does go 6, we'll probably take the under there as well, but make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page. Jump in the comments, let us know what you think is going to go down in game 6, and we'll be back with another video, whether it's about this series or another one, as the playoffs roll on. And until then, happy betting.